So for deaf and hard of hearing users, folks, they can't access the audio CAPTCHAs, and they may struggle with distorted sounds. So hard of hearing users, I mean, without captions or visual equivalents. So they're effectively locked out because of that. Yeah, so most of the CAPTCHAs, they get abandoned because of user frustration. And, they time people out really quickly. And, say, for example, you have a blind user like myself, I can't access the visual CAPTCHA, so I go to audio. And once I go into audio and I'm unable to sometimes even myself hear the distorted clips myself. And it can be very frustrating to me and for folks who have cognitive disabilities. They have to deal with the time limit, and that can cause a lot of pressure, and that can lead to abandonment. So can we move to the next slide?
Okay, go.
Okay. So when we go to the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, these are sort of guidelines for conformance. The CAPTCHAs themselves, they all the time fail web content accessibility success criteria all the time, including but not limited to non-text content. So 1.1.1, 2.1.1 keyboard accessibility, 1.4.5 images of text, and 3.3.3 error suggestions. And these failures aren't edge cases, but rather they're predictable, documented, and preventable as well. We can go to this.
Non-text content?
Yeah. So when it comes to non-text content, we have the audio. We have the audio CAPTCHAs, and those can't be accessed by deaf and hard of hearing folks, as we've talked about before. And just because that there's an audio alternative doesn't mean that we can't account for non-text content. So can we go to the next one? So keyboard navigation, can be very big failures in this, especially when it comes to keyboard being trapped, keyboard users being trapped, and not being able to tab through the CAPTCHA itself, and also focus order being mixed up as well. Next one. So this is a big one when it comes to headings and labels. We have the different, obviously, images not having proper alt text, and the images, the buttons not having proper labels when it comes to various CAPTCHAs, and not having headings to navigate to if it's a big CAPTCHA. Go to the next slide. So when it comes to CAPTCHAs, they're not very clear about communicating when the user has made an error. When I mean error, not being able to solve the CAPTCHA. And so sometimes they just time out randomly, and the user is unaware. Due to the time limit, they may not be able to figure out what issues they have, what they need to go back and fix. And also when it comes to the CAPTCHA fields themselves, they don't make it clear which part has been mixed up or messed, and they just sometimes they might use color or things like that. That's not clear to everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
CAPTCHA failures.
So when it comes to the WebAIM survey, um, they have done a survey and they've claimed that 44% of users have failed CAPTCHAs, and it is one of the number one reasons for headaches for people with disabilities. Number one issue, by that I mean headache, and it has really high rates of abandonment because of those. Yeah, so now we can move to the fun part and talk about the various alternatives that have popped up. And so we can move to the next slide. All right. So we have different CAPTCHAs, types of alternatives for CAPTCHAs, and one of them is HCAPTCHA that was developed recently. It's configurable, but it's not always accessible. It's more of a customizable CAPTCHA service, but unless specifically configured with accessible modes, it can still pose serious barriers, especially when used out of the box. So you have to sometimes go and set up an account for it. Like I was trying to sign up for Perplexity Pro recently, and it gave me the option for HCAPTCHA, and I had to go in and I had to make an account with HCAPTCHA and set up my own cookie and things like that. It was very complicated. If you can go to the next slide. So Cloudflare have developed this thing called as passkeys, which are modern authentication methods built into devices. So users sign in using a fingerprint, Face ID, or device PIN. So no passwords or CAPTCHA. So with this, it's not only just secure, but it bypasses the inaccessible CAPTCHA altogether. Yes, please.
Turnstile project.
Yeah, one second. So just trying to find the slide here. So Turnstile is a product from Cloudflare, and it's a drop-in CAPTCHA alternative that doesn't require puzzles. It relies on browser integrity checks and user behavior behind the scenes. So it checks based on how you're navigating the screen, whether you're, how your mouse is moving and how you're tabbing, if you're using a screen reader or keyboard only. And it's an accessible alternative that's pretty much invisible. Go to the next slide. All right. Yeah, I was referring to this a little bit more earlier, just as a reminder. Passkeys are it's like a modern authentication method that uses your Face ID or your fingerprint scanner on your phones, and you can just sign in that way without any hiccups. Next slide. So this next one is about email and SMS or OTP, one-time verification code. And these are usually, you get these all the time, where if you're signing up, you forget your password, you can check a box and or click on a link and that'll send you like a 6-digit code through an email or through text message. And this usually is used for resetting passwords, but the way that I would envision it is you can click on this and enter your phone number or enter your email and get a code to verify yourself. And it can give you a quick way, but it's not the most secure options, because as we know, we get a lot of phishing attacks through email and SMS. Next slide.
OTP limitation.
So the limitations of OTP, one-time password, is mainly due to phishing, and it's not the most efficient because you have to keep resending yourself a code, and the wait time for that can break the user flow. You can go to the next one. Right. So now moving to a more, I think, fun alternative is Honeypot. So what this does is this kind of creates invisible scripts to trip up bots, but it will recognize you, a genuine human who's going through interacting with the page. So it's really more to trip up bots than anything else. And this is also an invisible method. So if we can go to the next. So this next one is CAPTCHA-free login patterns. So many platforms now use device memory or login heuristics to skip CAPTCHAs entirely for known users. So these flows verify trust without making users jump through hoops. Next slide.
Security limitation.
So CAPTCHAs don't stop modern bots, and the bots can pass through by cracking through with OCR, and audio CAPTCHAs, especially, it's the alternative that I mentioned earlier, are now easier for bots to get through than humans. And reCAPTCHA v2 is easily bypassed using AI tools that are found today. Next slide, please. So when we look at the productivity of users today, Google estimated that CAPTCHAs waste the equivalent of 500 human years per day. So if you spend like 10 to 30 seconds solving one, you're not alone. It adds up fast across millions of users. Next slide. So now come towards the end of our presentation. Thank you for joining me. One of the things that I'd recommend that you take away from this presentation is CAPTCHAs block users. Alternatives already exist, like reCAPTCHA and honeypots and SMS and things like that. Accessibility is measurable through the data. I have some other resources that I have pasted in the slides that I can share with you later on. And this problem is not a future problem. It's a current problem that users are facing today. And if these alternatives like reCAPTCHA and honeypots and things like that are implemented, I think users will have a better time logging into things and making sure that they can get through instead of jumping through hundreds of hoops. I think that's it. Yeah.
It's a bunch of URLs, but
Yep, those are my resources. I think I'll share these later on.
I think the formatting got messed up.
Yep.
Since we last
Yeah. Anyways, thank you all for joining. I appreciate your time. Any questions? Yeah.
Thank you so much for all the examples. One of the things that we do have a lot is anonymous forms.
Yes.
So our security team has kind of that we have to do something. An example is website feedback form. It's totally anonymous. We don't ask people to sign up for anything.
Right.
So we needed something to stop because we started to get a lot of bots in. Yeah. So what we use is the Google reCAPTCHA.
Okay.
Invisible.
Yes.
So have you come across that, or I think that was one of the ones that you thought?
Yeah. So I've personally have come across this, but sometimes you don't even notice, right? Because it's in the background. So it's hard to tell when you're using it, when it's being used on you, right? So I personally have used it a lot, and I think it's a good solution that you guys have picked up.
Any other questions?
Hello, I'm Stacy.
Hello.
Thank you for your presentation. I had a question. I know you mentioned honeypots,
Uh-huh.
and that's a technique that interests me a lot, but I was just curious if you have any experience implementing them and can talk about that at all. One of the things I found when I was trying to convince someone else to use them instead of like a CAPTCHA solution that's the most challenging is it's kind of, it's kind of that cat and mouse security game where you're trying to stay ahead of whatever the bots feel like doing. It might need to modify it over time to keep it effective.
Yeah, so sorry to disappoint, but I've not implemented them myself. I'm not a developer per se, but love to learn more about how you have tried to, implement them.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Any questions on Zoom? No questions on Zoom. I also took notes.
Okay, thanks.
My question that I had was that when you're talking about edge CAPTCHAs, you said on the presentation that there's a cookie-based bypass. So can you talk more about that, like what that is?
Yeah, so I was talking about my personal experience when I was signing up for Perplexity, which is an AI chatbot service. And one of the things that would happen to me was that I was trying to pay for the pro subscription. So I had entered my payment details. And once I'd entered my payment details, it took me to a CAPTCHA. And once it was your typical, match the traffic lights and so on. And there was actually, for some reason, there was no audio alternative, but there was a checkbox that said something along the lines of, check this if you have an accessibility cookie enabled. And once I checked that, it took me to an option page that said, register for age CAPTCHA, and I had to go through and get a code through my email, and it didn't end up working out for me. I ended up abandoning that whole process altogether.
Yeah, just a follow up on that. So in cases like where you are going through a crucial process and there are no audio CAPTCHAs available, what do you do with that case?
I'll have to get, in worst case scenario, I have to get sighted assistance.
Okay.
And sometimes I just end up giving up, to be honest.
Okay. And this is something like this is homework for me. Like I've never tried out audio CAPTCHAs before.
Sure.
But what are they like? Like how do you how do they identify you as a human compared to
Yeah. So what they do is you press this play button and it spits out some string of letters or numbers or words. But the catch is that the audio itself is jumbled because they play some additional maybe sound effects in the background, or there's some random it sounds like two people or three people are talking at once, and so it tries to throw you off, and so you have to really try to listen hard. And that's why I was saying it's hard for deaf and hard of hearing folks.
those were our questions?
Perfect.
There are no questions on the room. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Vishal.
Thank you everyone. Thank you.